Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, Game Freak has a major breach with their data. We'll get into details about that. M4 Max are coming very, very soon. Tesla announces a cab, a van, and a robot, and you won't believe any of them. Nintendo announces an overpriced alarm clock, and an AI artist is super duper mad about not being given copyright, and I couldn't be happier about it. All that more coming today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, know where it's 2 a.m. Good buddy, this is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. We have a lot to talk about today, and I'm not gonna lie, we're actually starting off with, at least for us, as we're recording this, breaking news. This actually broke Sunday morning, but we're getting to it now, and that is the fact that Game Freak, the pretty much anointed only developer of the Pokemon company, has been hacked. This apparently happened back in August of this year, and Game Freak has confirmed that the hack has happened. Their exact statement is as follows. Game Freak Incorporated has discovered that personal information of employees and others was leaked in connection with unauthorized access to their servers by a third party in August of 2024. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience and concern caused to all involved. 1. Leaked personal information, personal data involving our employees, etc., including names and company email addresses. Number of items, 2,606. Our employees and contact workers, including former employees and ex-employees. Let me interject. So this means that this does not mean that there's 2,606 people over at Game Freak that couldn't figure out how to make Pokemon Scarlet work. This is including former employees. That means the current number of people at Game Freak is most likely less than this. I actually wonder, is there even a public record of how many people work at Game Freak? In any case, the message continues. Responses to individuals whose personal information has been leaked. We are contacting the affected employees individually. For those who cannot be contacted individually due to resignation or other reasons, we will notify them through this announcement and set up a contact point to respond to inquiries regarding the matter. 3. Measures to prevent recurrence. We have already built and inspected the server and will strive to prevent recurrence by further strengthening our security measures. 4. Inquiries regarding this matter. If you are affected by this matter, please contact the following office for inquiries. And then there is on this statement a redacted inquiry form. I am reading this from Nintendo Life. This is considered the original source for this, but the actual statement does include the form to contact. This is all just in all regards to employees. Like this is a serious deal. All right, we're gonna get into the benefits of the consumers of this leak, but I do need to stress, no matter how you look at this, this is still a malicious cyber attack. This is still tons of information that has been stolen from Game Freak and does affect all of their employees. This is all major stuff, right? And keep in mind, this is there's way more in this than just employee information. There actually is information about stuff that is in development, and we're going to get into that. And then I will look forward to a cease and desist in my email, which, no. Just no. Here is what has been leaked out. We have information regarding a number of games out there, ones that are in development, ones that have already been developed. For example, the source code for multiple Pokemon DS titles have apparently surfaced, including Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Those source codes are out there. However, because the online services for these games have ended long ago, there is no security risk to any retro runners that are playing this game. If anything, it means that people are going to go ahead that get their hands on this source code and find wackier, crazy exploits for this game, which it sucks, but it's harmless. It really is harmless. All right. In addition, we also have the code name for the next generation Pokemon game. We know that the code name for 10th generation Pokemon is Gaia. What does this tell us about the game? Nothing. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Nothing. If you think this means that we're going to see a Pokemon Earth and Pokemon Sky, or Pokemon Stone, Pokemon Sea, Pokemon Sky, if you think we're going to see something crazy like that because the code name is Gaia, here's what I'm going to tell you to do. All right? Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. I need you to get out of the basement you're in, go outside, and take a deep breath. All right? Get that fresh air. Let it fill your lungs. Okay? And enjoy the outdoors. Enjoy nature. Okay? You've been in the basement too long. You're getting a little something that's a bit too you need some fresh air. You need to maybe even touch grass. Maybe we don't need to go that far, but you definitely need some fresh air. In addition, we also know the code name for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is what codename Gaia is being developed for, is called codename Ounce or Ounce. And if you think that means anything, it just means that most likely it's the Switch 2. In fact, we had other documentation that suggested that, in fact, the code name for the Switch 2 was Ounce or Ounce, or I don't really care. This might be the first time that a code name was actually helpful. Look, finding out about these code names, to be perfectly honest, you know what these end up being when push comes to shove? For anyone outside of the development studio, this makes for great trivia. And that's it. Internally, it's pretty much just to go ahead and, first off, just have a name for something that doesn't have a name yet. You know, when the Switch 2 is being developed and they're not even sure, you know, what they're going to call the Switch 2, if it's going to be called the Switch Pro or the Switch Off or the Swap or the Switch U. When marketing hasn't come up with that name yet, you need to call it something. I mean, heck, the Kinect for the Xbox 360 was called Project Natasha. Or was it Project Natalia? Either way, the code names don't matter. Don't look into the code names as much of just don't overthink it. That's just all I can say about it. As someone else put in the chat, the project name for the Switch was just N. What does that have to do with the Switch? I don't know. I mean, it's nothing. We also know that the leak was a full terabyte. However, there is some other actual useful news we got in there. Allegedly, according to the leak, Pokemon Legends ZA apparently is pretty much almost completely done and appears to be a normal Switch game. So it is in fact going to launch on the Switch, and it's, according to the leak, it's pretty much done. So we're gonna get this soon, right? We're gonna get it soon, right? All right, here's my bold prediction based on this. End of February in 2025 is going to be Pokemon Day, right? It's like what, February 27th? We're going to get the announcement that Pokemon Legends ZA is going to be out next month. Because apparently all Pokemon announcements are only allowed to happen on Pokemon Day. Apparently. That's just what it seems like. Now then, one other bit from this leak that I saw from another source, although I don't see it here on this article, was also saying there is another game in the works, also from Game Freak, that is allegedly a Pokemon MMO. To which I'd say, what took you? Like, seriously, what took you? What took you so long? Now, I want to stress something. This is hacked data from Game Freak that is being passed around like candy on Halloween. It is very possible that someone has laid this in, or that we have bad info, or, you know, who knows what else, right? So before you start going around talking to people going, oh my God, there's a Pokemon, there's an official Pokemon MMO. Oh my God. Before you start going around and throwing that around, take a step back, go outside, deep breath of fresh air. All of this should be taken with a grain of salt. Just a grain, though. We don't need the whole container. So that is the story of the Pokemon leak. Now, is this going to be, you know, something huge? Are we going to find out way more? Who knows? There was also some reports of Discord servers being hit by Nintendo talking about the leak. I cannot find any evidence of this going on. The only bit of evidence I can find that this is going on is that the actual Pokemon Reddit Discord is talking nonstop about the leaks and sharing around the personal information of employees that were found in the leak. And it's causing moderators to start doing mass bans and mass purging of information and just going crazy in trying to get things under control over in this Discord server that is out of control. At this time, I cannot find any evidence of Nintendo taking any kind of action in combination with Discord to shut down the spreading of the information I have just shared with you. Is it possible that this may change down the road? Say, I don't know. When is 8 a.m. in Japan? When is the start of business day? I think several hours from when we're recording this would be when the official business day of Japan would start. In fact, actually, why don't we just go ahead? Time zone, or actually no, time in Tokyo. Oh, it is currently 10:30 a.m. in Japan now, or in Tokyo, Japan now. So whether they're an hour behind or an hour ahead, it is definitely the start of the business day in Japan. So they'd be taking action now if it was going on. But as far as I know, no action is being taken. That is just crazy rumors, much like all of this. Let's talk about a more serious hack. How about the one where Chinese hackers have in fact hacked every single US internet service provider? Yay! So yeah, apparently, thanks to China, everyone's been hacked. Yay. For the most part, the only information that's been acquired via this hack has been in the inner workings of the ISPs. And in fact, it did confirm what pretty much anyone in IT highly suspected, is the fact that, well, ISPs do in fact have backdoors enabled for law enforcement. In other news, storms are windy, grass is green, and the sky is blue most of the time. Make sure you tune in every week for more obvious things here on Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'll admit that joke was partially inspired by someone in the chat who said that the grass is green. What else is new? I'll fully admit that one. Here's my concern, though. So it appears this hack didn't get any real essential information, right? Hey, ISPs, what you gonna do to make sure that they don't get in and actually steal important stuff? You can go ahead and act embarrassed that everyone found out that, in fact, you do drop your pants when law enforcement says you will. You know, you can do that. That's fine. But I gotta ask, what are you gonna do to bolster the lock from unauthorized access? Because this is pretty sketch. This is pretty scary stuff. After all, we know the kind of data that ISPs collect. They don't want to admit it, but we know that ISPs collect a lot of information. And I do mean a lot. What are you going to do to make sure that it stays safe? We'll go ahead and report on that when the various ISPs decide that, yes, we are going to step up our security. In other news, we have another hack to report on. This one is much more annoying. The Internet Archive was hacked and brought down as information involving 31 million users were compromised from the hack. The group that took responsibility for this, or at least wanted to claim they took responsibility for this, I could have swore someone actually took credit for the attack. Oh, here it is. It claims it was be done by the Black Meta hacktivist group. They're the ones that went ahead and started with a DDoS attack. No confirmation later on to say if they did the stuff later. All right, here we go. Internet Archive founder Brewster Kale shared an update on on Twitter. I'm sorry, I mispronounced Twitter for a moment there. DDoS attack was defended for now, defaced our website via JS library. The breach of usernames, emails, salted encrypted passwords. What they've done right now is disable the JavaScript library scripting system and updated security. We'll share more information. So right now, it does look like that, in fact, this hacktivist group is the only known person to take credit. This Black Meta group. Here's what I got to say to that. Why? They went ahead and actually even put out on Twitter that the Internet Archive has and is suffering from a devastating attack. We have been launching several highly successful attacks for 5 long hours, and to this moment, all their systems are completely down. Here's what I gotta say. What is the point? What, you just wanted to prove that the Internet Archive, which is already having a hard time legally existing, cannot stand up to a DDoS attack? This is the equivalent of going to a public library, chucking eggs and toilet paper at it for hours, and then saying, wow, I can't believe they didn't stop us. You're still the douchebags that did it. The only other thing to say here is that there is no confirmation that the DDoS attack and the stealing of information is related. If they are related, I'm sorry, these guys need to go to jail. They claim they're a hacktivist group. They're trying to say that they're trying to imply by the fact they were able to go ahead and do this attack that this is just white hat hacking, that they are exposing a problem. This is not white hat. This isn't. This is black hat. This isn't even gray hat. This is black hat. You are being malicious. And quite frankly, this will most likely result in this group facing legal action. That's just all there is to it. So I don't know what their plan was, but so far it doesn't look like a very good plan at all. Speaking of kind of half-baked plans, the U.S. Justice Department is looking for what to do now that they have won the case against Google. Currently, the news is as follows. It looks like the big push is going to be for Google to sell off parts of itself, including having Google sell off or spin off Android and Chrome into their own businesses. Here's what's hilarious to me, okay? Android spinning off into its own company makes sense, right? Android has a large market share of the mobile phone industry, but they have competition. So it's a healthy-ish market there. But here's the real irony. Chrome launching off into its own business. Chrome already is a monopoly. You're going to be back at square one. Seriously, do you know what percentage of web traffic is on Google Chrome? Who wants to guess? Who wants to guess what the market share of Google Chrome is on the internet? Oh, I'm telling you, it's a fun percentage. Let me tell you. The actual percentage of Google Chrome traffic is, in fact, 64.64%. Except you also need to add Edge to that, Opera to that, Android to that, and you might as well add this other to that too, because this other stat here is including many other Chromium-based browsers. In fact, realistically, you should just take this 18.8% of Safari, combine it with 2.97% of Firefox, and just say, there, that's it. It's 21%. That is all of the non-Google Chrome traffic. All of it. And also, this 18.8% of Safari, I don't believe this number. I don't. That number, I guarantee you, is inflated because of the sheer volume of iPhones. And it's just considered, oh, yeah, they must use Safari. They have an iPhone. It's insane, the kind of pull that Google Chrome has. It would not surprise me at all if a few years down the road, there's then a new antitrust brought up for monopolistic practices from the new company that just does Google Chrome. Would you be surprised at all? Would you? I wouldn't. No, it is absolutely insane. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how everything goes. This is right now just proposed between the Justice Department to the court that went ahead and already sided with the Department of Justice that Google is a monopoly and action must be taken. So that is our next step for what will happen to Google. We're going to go ahead and take our first break here. When we come back, we've got some interesting news about YouTube, as well as some sketchy practices from Meta. I know. I'm shocked too that there are sketchy practices from Facebook's parent company. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. YouTube is taking new lengths to go ahead and make sure you watch the ads. Watch the ads. Your life depends on it. Watch the ads. Ooh, watch the ads. Ooh. Their next move is that on mobile, where they have more control over everything, they are actually actively hiding the skip ads countdown button. So they're going ahead and trying to make it so that you just can't find it anymore. That maybe you'll just go ahead and just watch the ad instead of being eager to hit the skip button. Can we get any sadder? Like, seriously, this is just getting tiring. All right, this whole thing where we just go ahead, play this game of cat and mouse. YouTube tries to go ahead and just make sure, oh, hey, you gotta go ahead and watch those ads. Up. Now the ad blocker is blocked. Ooh. There's even reports now, I can't confirm them, but there's reports now that certain versions of Chrome cannot download uBlock Origin anymore. That is just straight up a blocked plugin. Remember earlier how we were talking about how Chrome is, 80% of all web traffic? And now you can't install an ad blocker? Like, for this podcast, I use an ad blocker. You want to know why I use an ad blocker to go ahead and read these articles? Because these websites decide that they need to be 80% ad and 20% article, they literally make their website unusable. I would have no problem not using an ad blocker for a lot of these websites if they would just go ahead and stick to, like, I don't know, a banner ad up on top, a banner ad on bottom, maybe one on the side. But instead, they would literally, and a lot of them do, become a news website that is more advertising than it is the core thing you went there for. It's gross. It's sad. And YouTube right now is, God, it's awful. One of the worst things right now, because I actually am fortunate enough that I can, and I do, pay for YouTube Premium, right? Mainly because YouTube is my primary source of actual entertainment. So I go ahead and spend money on that rather than Netflix. What? Netflix bores me. Until we get Squid Games 2, I'm probably not going to resubscribe to Netflix. I digress, though. But man, let me tell you, clicking on YouTube embeds in Discord is a nightmare. Because all of a sudden, it is the world's most obnoxious ad that plays at somehow louder volume than anything can produce within the app, shattering my eardrums, and you have to sit there and sit through that and two more for some reason to go ahead and watch a 15-second funny clip. It's excessive. It's obnoxious. I get that YouTube needs ads, all right? I get the fact that a lot of YouTuber income comes from advertising, all right? I get that. Heck, when we stream this podcast, we throw in ads during breaks. I go ahead and when I publish this podcast for two, there's one short ad break after the tease into the start of the podcast. And then every 20 to 30 minutes, based on how it is after trimming, there's another ad break of 2 commercials. That's it. And then one final half break at the tail end of the podcast. And these podcasts can be anywhere from 1 to 2 hours long. But grand total, it's 6 to 8 ads. That's all I feel comfortable doing for a podcast. That's all I feel I can subject other people to. And even on the live stream, I go out of my way to make sure that what I do put out there is limited for the amount of ad time I give, you know? No one wants to be bombarded with ads. No one wants to go ahead and say, oh man, you know, I would love that every 30 minutes I watch 5 minutes of ads. No one's going to say that. No one's going to go ahead and say, oh man, you know, during this 20-minute YouTube video, I want to go ahead and hear about the current state of political ads 18 times every 5 minutes. Or whatever a lot of people are running mid-rolls at nowadays. No one wants that. So the fact that YouTube is trying to be more and more aggressive on generating ad revenue, what they really need to do is refocus on having their ads be more effective. Going ahead and making sure that we're not flooding ads. Because guess what happens when an ad comes up? You know what I do on stream? When I run ads, I stand up. I go do anything else. I go use the bathroom. I go grab a new thing of water. I go do anything else. You know what my viewers are most likely doing? Doing exactly that. If someone's going to go ahead and get a whole metric ton of ads during their thing, they're going to go ahead and go somewhere else where they're not being bombarded with ads. They really do need to rethink how they're running their whole ad game here, because it is not good for the future of this platform. The secret, let me tell you, it's not getting rid of ad block. Because here's a spoiler for you. If ads get too obnoxious and too intrusive, we're going to find another way around it. Whether it be a different ad block than uBlock Origin, whether it be to go ahead and rig up a piece of hardware like a pie hole to make sure that all ads get filtered out on the internet level before they get served, or whatever it is, they're going to go ahead and find a way around it. The best way to go ahead and make people watch the ads is to make them more tolerable. Or if you're a content creator, go ahead and add a little incentive to it. You can come up with something. I have a few ideas for my own stream, but not going to share them just yet. Also, this is a podcast, so, that's a thing for November of next month when we're back to doing the stream work again. So yeah, YouTube cracking down on ads. Everyone disliked it. That's all there is to it. In addition, Meta is losing its mind as the moderation on Instagram and Threads is currently being out of control, and a lot of people are being false flagged for talking about controversial topics they actually aren't talking about. So people are finding about their accounts being deleted or restricted because they're linking articles, except they're not. All I can do is shake my head. That's all I could really do. I mean, what else can you do to this? I mean, seriously, how can I go ahead and look at this and go, yep, that's okay? First off, I forgot Threads existed. I'm going to be real. I completely forgot. It's kind of wild to me. I don't know about the rest of you. But yeah, I forgot Threads existed. And second, really, man? Really? Oh, well. I guess what else can you do other than just look at that and shake at your head? Someone in chat said that's what's wrong with Threads as an alternative platform. You knew it was something. What was the problem? The fact that it's run by Facebook? Granted, that is a good reason. I'm pretty sure we said something along those lines. I was just like, maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't count on the Zuck to go ahead and make a Twitter competitor that's going to be better than Twitter. Just saying. So yeah, good luck, people on Instagram and Threads. I hope you come to your senses and find somewhere better to be. Speaking of people brainwashed by Meta, people will be stunned to learn this. Did you know that Meta launched AR glasses that are very similar to Google Glass? You remember those? We talked about those like a couple weeks ago. Remember those, right? Are you ready for the least shocking revelation ever? All right. I need to warn you. Before I tell you this amazing revelation, check your posture. All right? If you're sitting in a chair, make sure you're sitting up straight. You clench your hands on the handrests or the desk in front of you. All right? If you are standing, make sure you're sitting. This is going to be the biggest revelation. I want to make sure you don't fall over in absolute shock. All right? This is going to be the biggest revelation ever. This is sarcasm, by the way, before you really take it seriously. Meta is going to use data collected from these glasses to train. I hope you're ready for this. They're going to train AI. I know. Shocking news. The spy glasses from Facebook are going to train their AI. I can't believe we didn't see this coming. Oh, man. I'm stunned that a piece of hardware from the most spy-happy company in all of existence is going to be used to gather information and train AI that is going to be owned by infamous lizard person Mark Zuckerberg. How could I have seen this coming? Yeah, as someone in the chat said, in other news, grass is green. My grass is brown. Shut up. Yeah, this is the least shocking thing ever. Here's what's actually really shocking to me. The actual shocking thing to me, they admitted it. That's the actual surprising thing to me. Because right now, popularity of being spied upon, another shocking thing. The popularity of being spied upon is pretty low. The idea of being spied upon and having that information being used to train any kind of AI is even lower. But the fact that you just went ahead and just, granted, they admit it very, very quietly, but the fact they just admitted, yeah, we're going to do that. That, I'm not going to lie, is the most honest thing I have seen from Meta. You know what? I appreciate the honesty, Zuckerberg. This is a new leaf for you. And you know what? I applaud it. I'm not getting it, and I'm not giving you any more information. In fact, currently, my life is pretty much almost completely exclusively Meta free, and I'm going to keep it as Meta free as possible. But you know what? I appreciate the honesty in telling us that you are just going to blatantly spy on us. You know, it's a good first step, and we have to applaud it. Give it a small golf clap. I don't think anyone heard that. I think they heard my hand brushing up against the mic more than me actually clapping. This mic's weird when trying to capture those kind of sounds. It is not an ASMR mic by any way, shape, or form. That's for sure. All right, enough about Meta. Let's talk about Apple. Apple's got a few things. First off, do you remember the M1 iMac? Raise your hand if you remember the M1 iMac. Now put down your hand. I can't see you. All right. The M1 iMac, which does not look like it does in the picture. This is a previous gen iMac. What generation is this? What was Tech Radar thinking? This is not, whatever. The random stock photo they went ahead and took from Shutterstock with the incorrect iMac on there. Good job, tech journalists. The M1 iMac was the first ones that came out that were almost completely flat with no dome on the back and are completely Apple Silicon powered. But apparently there is a screen problem in them. Now, much to the shock of anyone who is not in the tech journalist space, Apple at this current time is taking no responsibility for the fact that numerous iMac users are having the exact same screen fault. Okay? Now, you might be thinking, well, Apple makes tons of electronics. They're very experienced at this. They can't be having a problem. That's insane. Apple most likely doesn't have a problem. All these people are just having a very similar issue, and it's user generated. Apple doesn't have these problems, right? The number of actual faults Apple has in their products that they never admit to, but then silently admit to, and then go ahead later on down the road, put out a repair program, is extremely long. Okay? There is, of course, the 2009 MacBook Pros that had GPUs that destroy themselves. There is the 2012 to 2014 MacBook Pros that went ahead and had a faulty ribbon cable and would do a short to ground very, very easily, killing the screen. There was the iMac Pros that had serious heating issues and would destroy their own GPUs. There was the Mac Pro that also had heating issues and would bow the baseboard that would go ahead and warp, and then your Apple trash can actually became a trash can. Whoops. And many, 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 many more, not even including my personal favorite one to point out every single time people says Apple devices just work, the 2017 MacBook Pro with butterfly switches. The keyboards that would be completely bricked by dust. And that Apple's solution to the keyboard that gets destroyed by dust was to give you one free replacement of the same defective keyboard. And they kept that design in MacBook Pros for 3 long years. Someone in chat says, butterfly switches? Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. So the MacBook Pro used to use, well, let's first talk about normal keyboard switches. All right. Normal laptop keyboards use what's referred to as a scissor switch. Okay. A scissor switch is pretty much two pieces of plastic that make an X on the inside. Like so, they compress, bringing down a rubber membrane onto the key. That is how they work normally. All right. This is what's referred to as a membrane keyboard in laptops. This is pretty normal in how almost all of them work. There are some very few laptops out there that actually use mechanical switches, but those are usually saved for premium laptops, although those are becoming more and more common. The MacBook Pro for a while used what's called a butterfly switch, that instead it had two pieces of plastic that when pressed would fold outwards like butterfly wings, compress that way, and then touch the actual keypad with the membrane. The benefit to the butterfly switch was the fact that the keyboard profile was much, much lower, and it made you feel that when you were typing that the keyboard barely traveled at all, giving you the wonderful sensation of typing on cement. It sucked. I don't know who liked these keyboards. They were terrible. As someone who types on the regular, they were god awful. All right? Worst things ever. Okay? And the best part was, because they were so shallow and had so little travel space, if any dirt got into this thing, including dust, the sensor would not be detected at all, and thus the entire keyboard failed. You'd get one free repair, and then after that, because they went ahead and designed this keyboard in such a way, the actual repair involved you going in from the bottom, taking out the battery, the cooler, the trackpad daughter board, the logic board, and then removing 20 plus rivets to take the keyboard out and then reattach a brand new one. It was a $200 plus repair because Apple went ahead and sold you a defective product from the factory. In case you can't tell from my tone, no, I don't forgive them for this. And before you start believing that my tone makes it sound like I had to suffer this, no, I did not. I actually never bought a MacBook Pro with this mechanism, but as someone who does repair laptops or did repair laptops for a living and heard about this, it made me unreasonably angry that my fellow colleagues in this field had to go ahead and subject themselves to this absolute insane repair, considering that on the PC platform, for just about every single keyboard repair in existence, it takes us 5 minutes. Someone in chat said some stopped repairing Macs. You want to know why some stopped repairing Macs? It wasn't because of this. Oh, no. We're going down this rabbit hole. The main reason a lot of shops, and I don't mean some, a lot of independent repair shops do not support Macs anymore is because they can't get the parts. Oh yeah, we're going full Louis Rossman here. You brought this upon yourselves now. Because Apple goes ahead and actually controls the supply of parts for their Macs like nobody else. They go ahead and make sure that third parties cannot sell any parts to anyone except Apple. If you want to go ahead and buy parts from the official source, you have to become an Apple authorized repair shop in order to even get the part. And of course, along with that, go ahead and give all the information regarding your shop and just pretty much sell your soul to Apple at that point. Now, things are slightly better because, of course, you go ahead and because, of course, you went ahead and do this and all this, that, and the other thing. Apple now went ahead and actually did make some parts available to the common people. You can even actually go ahead and from Apple order a repair kit to go ahead and, if you're not even a shop, do some of the repairs for your Apple device yourself. between the cost of the part and the rental fee of the equipment, you pay roughly $10 less to do the repair yourself than you would if you just sent it into the Apple shop to do it for you. So, yes, some repair shops, in fact, don't repair Macs because the amount of work that goes into repairing some of this nonsense is stupid. But a lot of them actually don't repair Macs because they legitimately cannot get the actual parts to repair it, or because of Apple's insane market manipulation of the parts. You have to go ahead and get sketchy parts from eBay that may or may not work. Oh, and by the way, for a lot of knockoff parts, they will even go ahead and they'll even go ahead and make sure with special serial numbering and keying that if the Mac detects non-official Apple parts used for, say, battery or RAM, that the machine will not boot or post. Or in some extreme examples of the iPhone, go ahead and even give a warning message saying the place you just went to used unauthorized parts. You should get it into an Apple place because the place you just went to is not a good place. By the way, that message even shows up if you use a genuine Apple battery. But because you don't have the tool that serializes it and matches it, Apple goes in and calls you out anyway and gaslights the actual independent repair shop. So yeah, a lot of independent repair shops stopped repairing Macs, not just because of things like the butterfly switches or Apple's unwillingness to go ahead and admit they made a fault or a problem in a product, but they also just don't repair Macs because Apple makes it malicious to repair their products. I'll be blunt. If someone came to me and said, I'll give you a couple $100 to repair this MacBook, I'm going to tell them no. Just straight up. I won't do it. It's not worth it. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. Yeah, M1 iMacs might be the next topic of conversation in regards to Apple refusing to admit that there's a defective product. Whee! In better news, though, there might be some M4 iMacs coming and revamped Mac Mini and iPad Minis. Yeah, there's rumors going about right now saying that, that we might actually see more M4 powered Macs as early as November 1st. It's not uncommon for us to get one more Apple announcement before the holiday season. So this has a ring of truth to it. It would not surprise me at all. Because I'm pretty sure we already have regular MacBooks with M4 silicon in it. So the fact there's no other Macs with it is kind of surprising. We'll go ahead and see what we've got going on there. But also the fact they're saying just the Mac Mini. This means trying to figure out what the heck's going on in the iPad lineup. It's going to be even worse. Are we about to get a generation where the iPad Mini is actually more powerful than the iPad Pro? Is that really what's about to happen? You laugh at the thought, but you know what? It would not surprise me at all. What is the iPad Pro running on right now? Is it actually running on M4 or is it running on M3? I legitimately do not know. I'm looking it up right now. It is currently running. Okay. All right. We're not going to get that. The current iPad Pro is in fact running on the M4 chip. I'll tell you what though, if we are going to go ahead and get the Mac Mini though, running on an M4, that's going to be really, really funny. Zona in chat says, now with more RAM. Yeah, because now apparently Macs need 16 gigs. Before they didn't. Macs on 4 gigs is just the same or on 8 gigs is the same as other PCs on 16 because Mac OS is far more efficient, even though every test in the world said, no, it's not. Apple, my friends, denying reality ever existed. Isn't it great? Now, here's the funny thing, though. One thing not mentioned in this leak is the MacBook Pro. But you already have the MacBook and MacBook Air running on M4. Why not? Why no MacBook Pro? Actually, I'm wrong. The MacBook Air is running on M3. Wait, is it? Yeah. MacBook Air is already running on M3. Apparently, at some point, we lost the MacBook. We only have MacBook Air and MacBook Pro now. Wait, do we not have any Macs running on M4? Is it just the iPad Pro? I'm like going down the list right now. Mac Studio is on M2. Mac Pro is running on M2. Mac Mini, which is rumored to be getting upgraded, is currently on M2. iMac is running on M3. MacBook Pro is a horrible website. MacBook Pro currently runs on M3, 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 M3 on the 14-inch, and it's M3 across the board. All right. And MacBook Air is also M3. So yeah, M4 was only on the iPad. It was only on the iPads for some reason. Freaking Apple, man. But in any case, confusing people is the fact that a random Russian YouTuber got their hands allegedly on an M4 MacBook Pro and did an unboxing with it, to which, as far as everyone can tell, is in fact genuine. And no one is sure how this happened. That's interesting. So yeah, we just got some random dude in Russia got a hold of apparently an unreleased MacBook Pro. So according to rumors and what we've seen, there's a MacBook Pro M4 coming out, apparently. And then rumored are M4 iPad minis. Probably not. It's probably going to run a lesser chip. What does the iPad mini run on right now? If I go over to tech specs, the iPad mini right now runs on an A15 Bionic. Yeah, it's probably not going to move over to M4. That would be silly. So it's probably going to see an upgrade to the A16 or maybe even what the current iPhone uses. What does the current iPhone use? A17? Why can't these model names make sense? Someone in chat said more likely to slip out from China to Russia than anywhere else. That would be my assumption. Like, it would not have surprised me at all if it just leaked out of like a Chinese YouTube, or if it just showed up on a random video in Bilibili or something like that. That I would totally expect. The fact that it leaked out to Russia seems kind of bizarre. The current iPhones are on A18, so we'll probably see this thing take on an A16 or A18 chip. Hopefully it'll be the Pro variant, so that the iPad mini will not be on USB 2.0 speeds. So we got Mac mini, iPad mini, and iMac, as well as the MacBook Pro, all rumored to be there. We'll see what we actually get when things come around. We're actually way past for a break. Let's go ahead and take that. When we come back, I've got news from Intel, Microsoft, and we might even get to the CyberCab event. Oh yeah, you don't want to miss that. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right. Microsoft is officially recommending that you no longer try to go ahead and reuse your old PC. It is an official recommendation to just take the Apple approach. Go buy a new PC. Oh man, you got me. I guess I'll stop using my old perfectly good system with 24 cores and 64 gigabytes of RAM. You got me. I guess I'll go buy a new one. Oh man, silly me for thinking that my already existing one was good enough. That's such old news. Oh, thank you, Microsoft, for making me realize the error in my ways. All right, who is convinced now? Who was convinced by this wonderful official recommendation to not go ahead and use your already perfectly good existing machine and instead update to Windows 11? So the main reason this is now coming out is in fact because Windows 10 support is going to be ending very, very soon. So if you want to go ahead and get security updates, you have to upgrade to Windows 11. However, if you're using slightly older hardware, there is a chance you cannot upgrade to Windows 11 and you will be SOL. Here's what I'll say about this. All right. I don't care. I really don't care. But your PC is going to be insecure. Okay. But you're not going to get updates. Okay. In my case, all right, I have a Windows 11 system. It's a laptop over there. All right. It's fine for what I do. On my primary computer, my primary two computers, the two right next to me are just barely too old. One is an 8-core system with 32 gigabytes of RAM. The other is a 24-core system with 64 gigabytes of RAM. Both of them running modern GPUs. One is a 3060, the other is a 4060 Ti. Guess what? They do everything perfectly fine. And quite honestly, considering the only limitation is the fact they don't have a trusted platform module 2.0, if worse came to worse, I'll find a way around. First off, I gotta see if there's actually even a way to upgrade it. There might actually be a way to do that, and then I'm in the clear. But here's the other thing. What do I get for upgrading to Windows 11? Do you know? I know. I get no more MS Paint. I get no more WordPad. I get no more Notepad. I get a start menu that technically does everything I need to, but the interface is clunkier and cannot be reverted to where you had it. The start menu is in the middle, which you then have to go ahead and tweak to go ahead and be in the correct position. You get no control panel and then lose access to some certain functionalities of your computer because they're only available in control panel and not in the settings menu. And oh yeah, I also get all the wonderful updates that say you should go ahead and embrace AI and also let us install this thing that constantly takes snapshots of your computer, even though we say that it's optional, but we're going to go ahead and withhold updates from you anyway, unless you go ahead and enable it. What's the benefit? Like, I hate to say it, but there's only one benefit. It's getting security updates. Someone in chat said new graphic user interface. No. I said benefits. The new GUI is a con. Here's the easiest prediction in the world. Early next year, Microsoft is going to go ahead and extend support for Windows 10 because not enough people are going to want to switch over to Windows 11. And because they went ahead and put this artificial limit and a whole lot of machines that are just barely outside of the threshold for this, or are on older workstations like I use that go ahead and, utilize higher end hardware and don't need to be updated nearly as often, are just going to go ahead and say, well, guess I'm out of the loop. And I'm not going to lie, and I've been saying this for a while, just migrating over to Linux actually looks way more attractive than upgrading to Windows 11. Because quite frankly, the way Microsoft is treating power users right now is insulting. It really, really is. And honestly, I'd recommend a lot of power users of Windows. It's not the worst idea to go ahead and take a look at other options. It may be something to investigate, because I once again ask you, does 64 gigabytes of RAM, a 4060 GPU, 2 terabytes of NVMe storage, and 24 CPU cores at 3.5 gigahertz sound like a system that should absolutely be tossed into the garbage? No, it does not. I do like that someone in chat did try to bait me by saying it's time for Chromebooks. Find me the 24 core Chromebook. I'll wait. Can Chrome OS even see that many cores? I'm willing to bet Chrome OS doesn't know how to read more than 2 cores. No, I take that back. It can probably see 4, because there are actually quite a lot of quad-core, ultra-low voltage processors out there that run Chrome OS. Funny enough, though, I know the guy who said time for Chromebooks. They're trying to bait me into saying that Chrome OS are not real that Chromebooks are not real computers. They still aren't, by the way. But I did find a good use for some of these like Chrome OS powered desktops. Digital signage. We can actually start recycling some of this junk out there. Someone in chat says the beefiest Chromebook has 8 cores. My God. That might be able to handle 6 tabs. This is a stupid conversation. We need to move on. I have deemed this distraction pointless. But in any case, Intel says they have finally figured it out. They have finally figured out the update that is going to finally fix Raptor-like processors from crashing again for the last time this time. So let's get everyone caught up. All right. If you are using a 14th or 13th gen CPU from Intel, you have a problem. These CPUs are cooking themselves. Literally. There is a flaw in them that are causing them to draw on too much voltage and will eventually kill themselves or cause permanent damage. If you have a 13th or 14th gen CPU and it is crashing, guess what? It is probably too late. Your CPU already cooked itself. Intel has put out one update and said they are fixed forever. This is known as the microcode update. They then put out another update and said, all right, this time it is now fixed forever for real. Finally, they put out one more fix. That is this fix now. And says, don't worry, it's all fixed for now for real. So if you have a 14,000 or 13,000 Intel CPU, update your BIOS. Update it as soon as you can. All right. Do you want my bold prediction? Here's my bold prediction. We're going to hear in December how there's another update that's going to totally fix the crashing chip problem for real. I mean, seriously, this is the 3rd time Intel says we have an update that's going to fix it for real. If the other 2 updates didn't fix the issue, why am I going to believe you now? There's no reason to. It's just, Someone in chat asked you they have a 12th gen Intel CPU. Should you upgrade? No. A 12th gen is still perfectly fine. You are able to go ahead and get the latest updates. It is still a perfectly serviceable CPU, and your immediate discount upgrade is self-destructing. There are 15th gen CPUs, but they are so new and not that much of a performance increase. It is very difficult to recommend from a 12th gen. If you're like looking for high performance and on like a 9th gen or 8th gen or 7th gen, then probably upgrading to 15th gen is a good idea. But do not under any circumstances touch a 13th or 14th gen Intel CPU. I would just not. Not at all. No. Do not touch a 13th or 14th gen CPU from Intel. Period. And if you are using one of these chips, by God, update your BIOS. Someone in chat says, I really wish that Twitch had the ability to mark messages as sarcasm. They do. It's called the Kappa emote. I wonder how many people forgot that was the original purpose for that emote. Am I a boomer for knowing this info? Am I just ancient? I feel ancient. Let's instead talk about the next generation Intel CPUs. Intel's launching their first AI PC Intel CPUs for the desktop. These are the ones referred to as Arrow Lake. This is going to be their Intel Core Ultra 200S series. If you want to know, all right, if you're about to ask me, what generation is this? I literally wouldn't be able to tell you if it weren't for the fact this article literally tells me it's 16th gen. Wait, no, it's just saying it has up to 16 next generation efficiency cores. I have no idea what generation this is because they just started renaming everything. And it's now Ultra 200S, which I don't know what that means. We'll see how everything performs. I'm not gonna lie, I legitimately don't know. And quite frankly, Intel, I'm getting really sick of all of this. I'm getting really sick of trying to figure out what all of this means. I'm tired. And quite frankly, the people now watching this live in chat are going to start saying, oh my God, computer boomer doesn't understand new lingo from Intel. Let me put it this way. I can tell you the exact models of specific laptops and how the manufacturer comes up with those names. I can tell you the structure of how NVIDIA numbers their GPUs. There is usually a science and a methodology to all of this so that their own internal department can tell what is what. What is the benefit of calling it Core Ultra 200S other than to flip off everyone who has to try and figure out what on earth this means? Also, I love the fact that one of their selling points is the fact they come equipped with 20 CPU PCI Express 5.0 lanes. Nothing uses PCI Express 5.0. I mean, I'm glad we're going to go ahead and support the technology, but I think we're just now using PCI Express 4.0. I don't know. Maybe we need to go ahead and get new GPUs. Maybe, in fact, from this stuff. Oh, yeah, I should mention. Oh, no, never mind. It's going to have 24 PCI Express 4.0 lanes, but the CPU can support 5.0. So Intel off the bat is saying the motherboard is limiting you. Thanks. Thanks, Intel. Someone in chat asked, what is Meteor Lake? I can't even tell you anymore. What is Meteor Lake? Meteor Lake is the codename for Intel Core Ultra 1 series mobile processors released on 2023. Apparently a mobile chipset. Or not mobile chipset, but a mobile CPU. In other news, though, NVIDIA. New rumors are saying that NVIDIA is going to be releasing their RTX 5090, 5080, and 5070 GPUs at CES next year. So we're not going to see it this year. We're going to see it next year. Here's what I already hate. I already can push the limits of my VRAM. Other people who go ahead and push higher resolutions are hitting the limits of their VRAM. NVIDIA is intentionally limiting lower end GPUs with less VRAM. This 5070 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM, we already hit that with the 4070. I hate this because let's be honest, there is only one reason that you do this. What is the one reason you go ahead and have a GPU with less RAM than it should? It's so they can go ahead and say, you know, maybe you should go ahead and just get the next one. Get that 5080. Oh, the 5080 is not enough? Oh, well, you need a 5090. Clearly, you're hitting the limits. So the 5090 with that 32 gigabytes, that's the way to go for you. NVIDIA, I'd swear at you, but I want to keep this family friendly. You suck. You suck, and I hate you as much as you hate me and all of your customers. Like, this is borderline malicious. This just feels cheap. You know how much these are going to cost. You already know. Just take a look at the MSRP of the 5090, the 4090, the 4080, and the 4070 now. Take a look at those prices at $100. I almost guarantee it. In the case of the 5090, add $200. Actually, round up to the nearest $500 mark. And I'm willing to bet that's going to be the price for these three. And, you know, you might say, but the new technology is there, and they can make these GPUs cheaper because of all that. It doesn't matter. Who's going to force them to be cheaper? Seriously. Why wouldn't they be more expensive? AMD already admitted they cannot compete with NVIDIA at the high end. They already admitted it. Intel GPU-wise figured out how to get its pants on. And that's it. NVIDIA sits at the top, and they are the greediest SOB that exists in the computer world right now. They are literally an unchallenged monopoly, and they are going to price their highest end gaming GPUs as such. And if you don't want to pay it as a gamer, they don't care, because they're the only option you have, and they'd rather see the GPUs sit there and rot, or even better, get bought up by some company and say, ooh, look at that, a cheap AI GPU. Because much like to the gaming market, to the AI market, NVIDIA is also a de facto monopoly. And they charge for their GPUs there too, as though they are. So, yay, new GPUs. I can guarantee you there's going to be nothing consumer friendly about these. I want to give better news. I really do. I want to go ahead, look at everyone here and say, you know what? Because of this little thing, that little thing, the other thing, I think this is going to be a good launch, and I think it's going to be one that's going to make gamers happy. And it's going to go ahead and bring affordability to the masses again. I have no faith in that. I don't. I think that these GPUs, when they launch, it's going to make the PS5 Pro look like a deal. And I've just accepted that already. I want to be wrong. I really do. But unfortunately, be honest. You believe it's going to be the same case too, don't you? It's just the reality of it, man. Are we thoroughly depressed yet? I'm thoroughly depressed. Let's get something that's not thoroughly depressing. How about a new USB 4 standard, which is capable of up to 80 gigabits per second of data transfer, which is insane, by the way. And here's actually the crazier bit. Capable of power delivery of between 60 and 240 watts. Mobile workstation class laptops, gaming laptops, getting USB-C charging. Whoa. I'm not going to lie. Okay. The fact that this is the next step of USB 4 is kind of nuts. Now granted, mind you, this is going to be a standard moving forward. We're not going to see this in new laptops for a while. In fact, if you go ahead and get your laptops from off-use markets like I do and look to save a lot of money, you're not going to see this for another 5 years. But I'm not going to lie. The concept of just having like one big USB-C charger and being able to charge potentially my phone, my laptop, and just about anything I want with the same cable and just keep a couple spares of that, I'm not going to lie, that's actually really, really cool. I'd be on board for that. Look, you laugh at the thought of, oh my God, that the tech guy is being excited about a cable. Hey, look, I take whatever win I can get. And quite frankly, crazy high data speeds, 80 gigabits per second is crazy. And even crazier high power delivery. Hey, I am all for that. Someone in chat said, ooh, you can power a 5060. By the by, 240, by the way, it seems like a really weird number. 240 watts. 240 watts is actually a very common power supply a very common large gaming laptop or mobile workstation power supply. In fact, as someone who used to sell used mobile workstations, I have quite a few 240 watt spare chargers around in my storage. For Dell, for Lenovo, for HP, it's very common. No joke. Someone in chat says power a computer with a computer. I don't think we're going to go ahead and see, I don't think we're going to be able to see 240 watts coming out of your desktop anytime soon over USB-C. The actual voltage and amperage for the 240 watts is 48 volts and 5 amps. And most of everything inside a desktop computer is 12 volts. So you would need a transformer inside the desktop to go ahead and power that 240 volts, which you're not going to go ahead and do that. Most desktops are not going to do that. So I don't want to be the buzzkill, but no, that's most likely not going to be a thing that happens. But not going to lie, the thought does amuse me. And if someone actually does actually do that, goes ahead and actually makes a power delivery board to go pump out 240 watts from a from a workstation or a gaming desktop, I'll go ahead, report on it, and go, oh no, I was wrong. Darn. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong, but I'm still not wrong about Chromebooks. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. When we come back, Tesla. We have to talk about Tesla. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right. Elon Musk unfortunately got up on stage for Tesla and announced new things. Excuse me. This was unfortunate because it means that we have new things to talk about. Yes, I know. I'm disappointed too. So there's three main things that were launched. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Cybercab. The Cybercab is a two-seating, fully autonomous car that is going to be their version of the Robo taxi, despite the fact that Tesla announced that your Model 3 or Model S or any of your Teslas would have an update down the road to serve as, you know, fully autonomous taxis to earn money for you while you work. No, this is it. This is it right here. No word about that update. And this is going to be rumored, or at least thought to be, the company's cheapest model at $30,000. This is set to roll out in 2026. This is going to be a vehicle that pretty much only companies are going to buy and then send them out as taxis using apps such as Uber. All right. Interesting stuff. The big thing with this thing is that apparently we're going to have scissor doors for some reason. I don't know why you'd want to do that for a vehicle like this. You already got the gull wing. Why not just do the gull wing doors? Why are we doing scissor doors? It's a weird decision to me. But what do I know? Apparently. Anyway, the thing is supposed to be fully autonomous and will be launching in 2 years. And I want to emphasize again, it seats 2. Okay. Moving on then, we have the Tesla Robo van, a vehicle that I did not actually believe existed until I started doing the prep for this podcast. I 100% thought this vehicle was fake when I first saw it. But no, this is a real thing that was really announced by a real company. The Robo van is also going to be a fully self-driving vehicle, but this one is supposed to be for mass transit, which apparently the terms of mass transit is going to be for up to 20 passengers inside the van. Now, this is also to be fully autonomous. It does not come, like the Cybercab, it does not come with any steering wheels, pedals, or controls of any kind. Here's what I'll tell you right now. This thing is not going to launch like this. There is no way. Because let me tell you something. Any vehicle, for it to be considered a commercial vehicle and then require by law to be driven by a driver with a commercial driver's license or a CDL, will meet any of the following. The vehicle is going to have a gross vehicle weight of over 26,000 pounds, or the vehicle seats 16 people, including the driver. There is a reason why, if you were to go on Ford's site or Freightliners or Chevys or Dodge or Mercedes, any company that sells commercial transit vans, you're going to find it very strange that all of the vans seat 14 extra passengers in the rear and then have a co-pilot seat and a driver's seat. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 13 in the rear plus 2 in the front. It has a total of 15 seats. I did my math wrong because someone else said 14 plus 1 in the chat. And I mixed up my numbers a bit there because of that. I digress. The point is, there's a reason why those vans stop at 15 passengers. And when you see the seat layouts on them, it is cramped. It's because at 16, you are now a bus, and you must now be driven by a CDL holder. It also means that your vehicle is now under strict regulation, must be inspected every single year, as well as the driver must log in all of their hours they spend driving the commercial vehicle. The difference between driving a non-commercial vehicle and a commercial vehicle for what you have to do is enormous. Easiest prediction in the world. This van does not launch with 20 seats. However, here's another easy prediction in the world. There is no way these vehicles launch in 2026. Right now, the full self-driving they test is only in a very small area in California and in Texas. They barely have that working. They barely have that working. There is no evidence that these vehicles are going to be ready for prime time and be fully self-driving in 2 years. Someone in chat says, wait, it's pronounced Roboven. Roboven? I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb. I don't think that's actually how they're going to pronounce it. I think that's this writer from the article that I'm using trying to be funny and trying to make fun of the way someone pronounces something, which, I don't care enough. There's enough to make fun of without going to the way someone's pronouncing something. For crying out loud, it's a transport vehicle with what appears to be no windows. Or possibly the only windows are in the door. There also appears to be 2 pillars of glass across the thing. There's no way. There's no way this launches as they expect. Do they actually give a release date for the Robo van? No. They do not give a release date and price for the Robo van, which is this right here, I'm not going to lie, not giving a release date or a price for the Robo van might actually be the smartest thing that Tesla has done all year. And then finally, they also went ahead and said, yeah, we totally have unsupervised full self-driving. No, you don't. The other thing they went ahead and showed is the Tesla Optimus. Their humanoid robot that will apparently be able to work as basically a Robo Maid, doing whatever you ask of it. And be able to carry out a few basic tasks and will go on sale for 30 grand. Being capable of doing daily human tasks like bringing a package from the porch or watering your plants. I'm not going to lie. It's very tempting, considering that right now in my own personal life, our family's trying to go ahead and figure out how those of us with working jobs are taking care of elderly members of our family. But here's one thing I have to point out, okay? Before you go ahead and say, oh man, look at all this crazy stuff. Look at all this wacky stuff. My God. Tesla's really cooking. Look at all this cool stuff they're going to be bringing to us soon. All right. If you are in fact a Tesla true believer, I feel like I need to remind you of a very important story from not all that long ago about how Elon Musk, as of right now, is currently, has won one lawsuit case because the shareholders of Tesla said that Elon has failed to deliver on things he has promised. And Elon won because the judge dismissed the case, saying that the claims that Elon makes would not be believable by any normal person. I want to remind you of that case, because now I have to look at this. You mean to tell me, Elon, after you have not delivered on full self-driving for 10 years, now have on a legal record saying that no one should have believed you because no reasonable person would have believed that. And you expect me to believe that you're going to have not one, but two fully autonomous vehicles in the very near future. One of which is going to be the near distant future. The other apparently is in 2 years. And you expect me to believe you're going to have all this ready and a Robo Maid? I'll once again say it. The smartest thing that Tesla did was they did not put a date on the Robo Maid. But I'm not gonna lie. I wish they did. I wish they did so I could go ahead and say that if these things launch on time, I'll show up on podcast in a Maid outfit. You know what wouldn't happen? Me showing up in a Maid outfit. There's no way he's gonna make this deadline. There is absolutely no way. So yeah, no, I don't believe it. And when push comes to shove, yeah, it's a Tesla event. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think they're gonna meet any of these goals. Not in the time frame they're saying. But then, of course, people have to ask the other question: why is the Cybercab going to be a two-seater? A two-seater. I just don't get it. God help you if you and 3 friends go ahead and go out to a bar. That's it. You're each gonna have to order separate cabs. People in chat are talking about the SpaceX Starship launch, and also talking about how the thing caught the thing. I actually don't have a whole lot of stories about that. I don't have a whole lot to contribute about this. Here's what I will say: between SpaceX actually making its goals, as far as its progress for, well, it's not making its goal for colonizing Mars. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But as far as like its reusability of rockets, and also going out of their way to provide connectivity and communications to the Carolinas, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida that got ravaged in not one but 2 major hurricanes. Dude, I gotta say, SpaceX might be the only company keeping up the entire Elon empire right now. Because I'll tell you what, Twitter's not looking good, and Tesla's not looking good. And don't even get me started on the Boring Company. Actually, I will say this about the Boring Company: it's not boring. Not boring at all. Someone in chat asked, what's the Boring Company? The Boring Company is a company that went ahead and drilled holes in tunnels in Los Angeles, hoping to decongest traffic. And in the end, the super fast highway with pneumatic sleds and transporting vehicles at upwards of 150 to 200 miles an hour, turns out it never happened. The Boring Company sold a flamethrower. Someone in chat says, yes, they did. The Boring Company did, in fact, sell a flamethrower. In other news, looking at alternative energies other than gasoline and diesel, Toyota. What the heck did I just... That sounded weird. Toyota. That's right. What did I say? I feel like I slurred something. Regardless, I digress. Toyota is showing off how its new hydrogen fuel cells are going to look. So Toyota is not going in on the electric bandwagon. They believe the future is in hydrogen fuel cells. But the question is, how do you refill the hydrogen into the vehicle? Well, Toyota is showing their portable hydrogen cartridges. And honestly, they look fairly normal. Personally, I'm just kind of amused by the fact they look like giant batteries. And I don't mean like car batteries. I mean like cylindrical batteries. They look like massive AA or AAA batteries. And I'm not going to say like I am all in on this over whatever Tesla is doing. This looks interesting. And I'm actually really curious what the adoption rate is going to be. Because right now it feels like there's 3 options for vehicle fuel sources. Well, technically 4, but I digress. We have full electric, which is having a slow adoption rate as people in more rural areas kind of get a little concerned about how am I going to charge this thing. or even just some suburbs that are just not on the coasts. Coasts. It's late, all right? I digress. Then you have diesel, which is either used by commercial vehicles or by people that are so against the push to electric, they just go ahead and just go full bore because diesel sounds dirtier than any other vehicle, even though technically diesel is more clean in a lot of aspects, depending on how the vehicle is built, than gasoline. Then there's people using gasoline who are just kind of in the middle and just like, I just want to go to work. And then you have hybrids, which are used by somewhere in between. So I am curious to see where hydrogen fits into all this, you know? It is going to be interesting to see how this all goes down. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what my point was in all this. I really don't. In other news, how long have we been going, actually? Holy cow. I am realizing that we have just been going on and on and on today. Man. I knew today was going to be a longer podcast. I did not expect it for it to be as long. I still have the Twitch stuff to go over. Someone in chat says the podcast that never ends. It's true. It's true. We're here forever. Tim, it's late. Tim Sweeney says that the next version of Unreal Engine 6 will be a metaverse. Who else is sick of this word? Their whole thought process is that it'll be the way they're structuring is that everyone can go ahead and use it and open source their characters and just, well, they didn't say open source, but they're just trying to make it available to everyone and just go ahead and just let everyone go ahead and use everyone else's characters. Make all these games a metaverse and massive crossover universe, and I'm sick of it. I really, really am. I'm really getting sick of this push of just trying to make video games a metaverse. Of trying to go ahead and say that we want more crossovers. We want to see more games go ahead and combine more things from other games into their game, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm tired of it. I really, really am. And I say that as someone who plays FF14 regularly, and they have had a whole lot of this kind of stuff going on. We're about to get a raid series that's just based on another FF series. There was a flippin' Fall Guys crossover that seemed way out of place. It's just, you know what a lot of gamers just want? Here's what a lot of gamers just want. They just want to see creativity. We're getting tired of games just being a crossover. This one thing you really liked that one time with another thing you really liked that one time. We're getting sick of seeing Wolverine face off against Son Goku with submachine guns. We're getting tired of seeing, you know, realistic battlefields with Alucard on there with a sniper rifle for some reason. It's exhausting. And honestly, it feels creatively bankrupt. It's tiring, man. Speaking of tiring, we're also kind of sick of seeing games just want to go ahead and make sure we check all kinds of checkboxes on top of that. Yeah, we're looking at you, Ubisoft. You know what you did. I'm sick of it. You're sick of it. Please, let the creativity flow. Here's all I gotta say. Thank God for indie devs. But then again, sometimes maybe creativity is not the best thing in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the latest creative thought to come out of Nintendo. I present to you the alarm clock. I'm sorry, it's called Alarmo. It is a $100 cartoonish looking alarm clock with a round face on it, but a square screen that tracks your sleep without you wearing the device. Only works if you're single. If you go ahead and if you have a double bed, if you sleep with your significant other, it does not work. And it plays Mario sounds or other sound effects from your favorite Nintendo franchises. You want to know my thoughts on this? Someone in chat says that you just need one on each side of the bed. No, one on each side of the bed will not work. because it detects the other person in the bed and then tracks bad data. It does not work no matter what you do with two people in the bed. I know the person in chat that said that is joking, but I have to reiterate, no, it does not work. Here's my thoughts on this, though. A few months ago, Sony released a $200 tablet with controllers on it that could only play games if you already had a $500 console somewhere else in the house, and only on Wi-Fi or on someone else's Wi-Fi with varying quality. I called that the stupidest accessory for modern consoles. I would like to apologize, truly, to all fans of the PlayStation Portal. Your accessory is still limited, and I don't take back most of the things I said about the device. All right, I still, pretty much everything I said about its limitations, its functionality, and its price still feels like one of the more poorer financial decisions you can make. But you are no longer the dumbest console accessory that ever blighted the planet. That now goes to this incredibly stupid alarm clock. Congratulations. You are now justified. You are now slightly more justified, Sony PlayStation Portal fans. So, do I have to tell people openly that I do not recommend the $100 toy alarm clock that watches you sleep, that is built by a game company that would rather sue people than actually beef up their own security or actually develop impressive technology? Don't buy the $100 toy that watches you sleep. Just don't. It's that easy. Just don't buy the $100 toy. There's better things you could spend $100 on. I'm not gonna lie. You could go ahead and get, I don't know, you could probably actually get a used Switch Lite. I'm actually curious, how much is a used Switch Lite going for on eBay? There is one listing for $100 for a Nintendo Switch Lite. That would be a better use of your money. Most of the listings I see for a Nintendo Switch Lite are anywhere from $100 to $150. One listing is trying to sell them for $170. That listing is made by stoners. Yeah. By the way, also in other gaming news, Ubisoft is in more legal trouble. So it turns out that Ubisoft went ahead and illegally shared customer data with Meta, as if their troubles couldn't get worse. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. I don't think I really need to go ahead and say that, illegally sharing data with Facebook is a bad thing. But just in case, illegally sharing data with Facebook is a bad thing. In other news, 343 Industries is now known as Halo Waypoint. Oh no, I'm sorry. They're called Halo Studios. Their website's called Halo Waypoint. This isn't confusing at all. Yeah, the company that has been making Halo Infinite and has been working on it since time immemorial is now referred to as Halo Studios. So maybe that means you fans of Halo Infinite will actually get an update soon. That'd be swell. Someone in chat asks, why? That's a very good question. Anyway, Metaphor ReFantasio is now available and the reviews are in, and it looks like JRPG fans are so back. Oh man, we've been eating kind of strangely lately with FF16 being kind of good but not really in a weird sort of way, and a few other games being like, oh, that was kind of neat, or ooh, hey, a mana game that might be up. The studio's gone. Space in the RPG landscape has been strange. If you look at indie spaces, you're actually eating pretty good. But Atlas is back, and their current title, their new look into the JRPG space that doesn't involve the weirdness that is the Shin Megami Tensei series or the high school kind of setting of Persona. It's all looking pretty good. So you know what? Good. 100% good. Good stuff. I'm happy for it. Huzzah, huzzah. Something great to get. One last story before our break. One last little piece of gaming news before we take our last break here. And that is, in fact, confirmation that we are getting a very, very strange little spin-off game from the Yakuza series. For whatever reason that scientists cannot explain, we are going to get a new game called Pirate Yakuza. At least that's what I've been told is the game. The actual studio called Ryuga Go Toku has been toying with the idea of taking one of their beloved characters. Why am I blinking on his name all of a sudden? It should be like right in front of me. I want to say Majima, and it's like, it is Majima. Okay. I like, for whatever reason, like I know his name, Goro Majima. And it's just like, for whatever reason, I just suddenly doubted myself. And it's just like, why does that sound like something I made up? It's because it's late at night and I've had a long day. I blame it solely on IRL. Anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong about the game being called Pirate Yakuza. That is not what it's going to be called. The actual game is going to be called Like a Dragon Tuna. And it is going to be taking Goro Majima, having him wake up with amnesia on an island, and starting life as a pirate. This might be one of the stupidest, dumbest, strangest spin-offs I have ever heard. And it makes me wonder what these devs were smoking and why aren't they sharing? And why isn't this game on my desk right now? Like, no joke. This whole thing just sounds like something someone would make up out of nowhere on Twitter and just throw out there and just say like, here, it's totally a real thing. Trust me, bro. But it's a real thing that is currently being worked on. And holy cow, is this going to be an absolutely insane, stupid, dumb spinoff? And I am 100% here for it. We're going to take our last break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Twitch community guidelines. We're going to go into deep look into this. And we're going to have a long talk about it. And yes, this is going to be talking about all the VTubers who are getting bans and suspensions because of hips. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right. We got to start closing up shop here quick, but we have a lot to talk about in regards to the community guidelines on Twitch. They went ahead and did a revamp of the rules. And here's the thing to go ahead and point out in regards to the Twitch online rules. All right. Here's the big thing to point out. None of these are new rules. Twitch did not add any new rules. They simply went ahead and refined existing rules and wanted to be more clear. They have went ahead and said openly, there are no new rules in this. They are just reemphasizing older ones. And the big thing here is in regards to, well, for the most part, a few things in regards to behavior. One of the things I pointed out during the breaking news episode talking about this was, in fact, the talk about self-destructive behavior. They also went ahead and added talk about, was it in self-destructive? There was a thing about drinking. Yeah, that was the big thing. They went ahead and wanted to say that you cannot, is that one of the things you you may not show or promote, and that is the consumption of alcohol or other substances that lead to being incapacitated. That is the exact wording they used. So the way this is listed, this means you cannot show the consumption of alcohol. That is what they're saying. They then later on, and this also say for examples that are allowed, saying, I will open this bottle of Prosecco at 100 subscribers, or drinking stream when we hit 50 new subs tonight. But you cannot say I will down a bottle of vodka at 300 subscribers, or I will take a shot every 100 bits. So their examples are implying you cannot promote excessive alcohol or a limitless way for people to say, I'll go ahead and take unlimited shots until I pass out on stream. You can't do that. That's not what they wrote. So even though this is now like our fourth time re-emphasizing our community guidelines, they still have things that are written not in the same way they intend to enforce things. Because the way they have this listed is that the consumption of alcohol is prohibited. You can't show it. That is what they are saying right here. So already we have a problem. And this is, I'm not even kidding, this is the first section that isn't the intro. But of course, everything goes down to that everyone's really talking about is down here in the sexual content and adult nudity. Because one of the things they go ahead and say is that you cannot go ahead and show genitals or your buttocks. They actually specifically says you may not show or promote exposed anuses or fully clothed and exposed buttocks. So by this rule here, apparently you cannot show fully unclothed. I read it wrong. Fully unclothed and exposed buttocks. All right, never mind. I read that wrong. That's my fault. Any amount of exposed genitals or female presenting individual breasts with exposed nipples, unless actively breastfeeding a child. I'm trying to think, like, do you really want to go ahead and have a breastfeeding stream? Like, just thinking about that, man, I don't think anyone wins except for like a crowd you don't want. Like, there might be a niche amount of viewers that are going to be like positive, supportive about that, and are going to be all for it. That's fine. But like, holy smokes, I would recommend against breastfeeding a child on stream. You're going to get all the wrong attention. People are saying that it was included as a legal thing. I 100% I agree with that. That it most likely is included as like a legal caveat. That you can't bar someone from breastfeeding a child. I'm just thinking from like a streamer point of view, like a content creation point of view. It's like, do you really want to do that? And then it's also just like, do I really want to be the person to say don't do that? Anyway, we're getting distracted. The, of course, key thing here is the attire. The exact things they state here. We don't permit streamers, their co-hosts, or their invited guests to be fully or partially nude, including exposing genitals or buttocks, nor do we permit streamers to imply or suggest they are fully or partially nude, including but not limited to covering breasts or genitals with objects or sensor bars. We do not permit visible outlines of genitals when covered. Broadcasting nude or partially nude minors is always prohibited. Let me interject. And illegal, regardless of context. For those who present as women, we ask you cover your nipples and areolas. Do not expose underbust cleavage. And do not expose underbust. Cleavage is unrestricted as long as these coverage requirements are met, and it is clear that the streamer is wearing clothing. For all streamers, you must cover the area extending from your hips to the bottoms of your pelvis, and buttocks. For those areas of the bodies where coverage is required, the coverage must be fully opaque, sheer or Sheer or partially see-through clothing does not constitute coverage. In addition, there is contextual exemptions. IRL streaming. Streamers, their co-hosts, and invited guests engaged in general IRL streaming outside home must follow standard border coverage exceptions. Those passing through the background of your stream are not held to the standard dress code requirements, and the content does not have to be placed in pools, hot tubs, and beaches does not have to be placed in the pools, hot tub, and beaches category, but broadcasting nudity is not permitted regardless of context. If accidental nudity appears on your stream, we expect you to take immediate action, remove the content, and take precautionary steps so it won't happen again. You should not focus on your stream on anyone violating our clothing or sexual content standards. You will be held accountable for doing so to the same extent as if you're violating the standards yourself. At swim beaches and concert and festivals, swimwear, short shorts, and bodysuits are permitted as long as they're completely covering genitals, and those who present as women must also cover their nipples and areolas. Full coverage of buttocks is not required, but camera focus on them is still subjected to our sexual content policy. Coverage must be fully opaque, even when wet. Sheer or partially see-through swimwear or other clothing does not constitute coverage. Content subject to this contextual exception must be placed within the pools, hot tubs, or beach category. Context that violates standard attire guidelines is not subject to this contextual exception. Wearing a bikini outside of a pool or beach sitting is still violative, even if placed in the pool, hot tub, and beaches category. So, with that said, I want you to remember this, okay? In addition, moving on to body art. For streams dedicated to body art, full chest covering is not required, but those who present as women must completely cover their nipples and areola with a layer of non-transparent clothing or a paint and latex combination. Artist grade pasties, tape, latex, or similar alternatives are acceptable. This coverage must be applied before streaming begins. Not on stream buttocks and genitals must also be fully covered by opaque attire. In addition, we ask that streamers add a sexual themes content classification labels when painting on their chests or buttocks. This exception to the general coverage requirement only applies while streamer is actively engaged in body painting, though the streamer may take short breaks in between active painting sessions or when the painting is complete to model the results. Streamers are given some leeway for making transition between contexts with different limits of acceptable attire, going from beach to general outdoor IRL streaming. These situations, streamers are expected to only spend as much time wearing insufficient attire as needed to add clothing or change off screen into clothing with appropriate coverage for the new context. The additional exceptions. The standard chest covering requirements outlined above do not apply to individuals who are actively breastfeeding a child on stream. Of course, let me interject. As we discussed, this is most likely added for legal reasons. Additional notes. This one gets long. When evaluating reports for sexual content, attire is just one factor we will use in making a determination on whether the conduct is acceptable. We recommend streamers wear attire that would be publicly appropriate for context, location, and actively they are broadcasting. For example, workout clothes would be appropriate for a fitness stream, and a swimsuit would be appropriate for a stream from a public beach. Here's the big one. The attire policy applies to VTubers in the same way it applies to other streamers. Genitalia, buttocks, hips, female presenting nipples, underbust must be covered at all times on the general streams. These guidelines apply to VTuber models, but not video game characters, including those uploaded into games such as VR chat. Hip coverage is often forgotten in this rule. Please be sure your VTuber model covers this area. Festival and beach wear allows slightly more revealing clothes within the relevant category, allowing to show these hips and underbust, but genital and female presenting nipples must be covered. Static or slightly animated artwork such as the start streaming, be right back, and stream ending artwork must follow our guidelines. If you are in a setting such as a pool, hot tub, or beach, that may not be real, or beach props do not require water within them for us to still consider you in the correct context. Let me interject. This means if I go ahead, bring an inflatable pool in here, and just don't fill it, I can be in a swimsuit. I don't know who wants that. I don't know if I want to meet people who want that, but that's all you need. Yes, it's just as stupid as you think it is. This insanity continues. Your content is still required to be in the correct category and apply any applicable content classification labels. If we cannot functionally tell whether or not you are clothed, you are implying you are not clothed through methods such as skin tight or skin toned clothing, black bars, blurring, hiding behind props, or being off screen. You'll be at risk of enforcement of our attire and possibly our sexual content policy. So if someone hated me and I was wearing, let's say this shirt, and all you could see is from my neck up, and I'm just like leaning over, just kind of doing like one of these. You can't see the fact that I'm wearing a shirt from off screen. That technically means that I can face punishment based on the way this is written. But here's the real insanity, all right? You can go ahead and play games like, say, Nier Automata, who has characters, 2B, that directly violate these rules. But a VTuber in the same outfit does directly violate the rules. If I go ahead and fire up FF14 and go put, well, first off, I'd have to decide to go ahead and use one of my female cat character instead of the one I normally play with on stream, and go put her in the skimpiest swimsuit I can and just go out and start smashing enemies with a giant axe. That is fine. But a VTuber can't. It's one thing to have a risky outfit IRL, because things can accidentally happen with real clothing. A stiff breeze could come in from a window and blow my shirt around, do this, ooh, and I'm not at risk of showing anything that I shouldn't, but someone else might be if they're cutting it close. Those sort of things can happen. Someone with a virtual avatar has perfect clothing. Nothing can happen like a dog pulling on a shirt too much and tearing it off or something like that. No accident like that can happen in this case, but they have to go ahead and follow the same rules. I feel it's a little silly to go ahead and say that some provocativity in the video game is fine, but the digital avatar, absolutely not, no exceptions. But that is in fact a matter of opinion. Okay? In the end, I lose this argument and Twitch wins. It's their platform. But this insanity is even dumber than that because of what someone in chat just said. Your VR chat avatar can break these rules. So the instant I take this digital avatar, plop it into a 3D space, like VR chat, it's now perfectly fine. It's totally on board. Thumbs up. Everything's good. But of course, here is the big problem. I would be fine with these rules, even though these rules literally have almost no chance of affecting me. As I stream right now, I am not at risk of violating these rules at all. But there is a very blatant, obvious bias to bring down the hammer on VTubers and not on the countless, underline countless number of female streamers in just chatting that are actively violating these rules, and in addition, actively violating another rule up here. I believe it's actually here in sexual content, saying that you cannot I actually need to try and find this now, because I know I covered this before, that you cannot, under any way, shape, or form. Oh, here it is. You cannot advertise or solicitation of sexual services, including prostitution, escort, sexual massage, or filmed sexual activity. You cannot advertise filmed sexual activity. I guarantee you, half of the hot tub streams out there are female streamers advertising their OnlyFans, which specifically offer filmed sexual activity. They get off scot-free. The VTubers, though, oh no. Absolutely not. Twitch, here's what I gotta say. Equal enforcement. Equal enforcement of these rules. I'm not gonna be the one that says, VTuber, that this whole thing is for prudes or anything like that. You know what? It's your rules. Run the site how you want. But then you better be cracking down just as hard in the just chatting categories, the hot tub categories, the beach categories, where we know for a fact that these rules are blatantly and brazenly broken on a daily basis. Because until you do that, you are going to endlessly get the blatantly biased accusations. And even though I really don't have a horse in this race, I mean, granted, I do have friends that are VTubers. I admit that's true. But quite frankly, my own time on Twitch is unaffected by this. It doesn't matter. But we're still going to call you biased. We're still going to say you are not, that you are absolutely breaking your own rules. You are 100% in violation of your own terms. And then let's get back to one of the things I wanted to bring up in the first place about this. This clarification made people think that there is a brand new rule that was just invented regarding hip coverage. What does this say about the way your rules are written? If this clarification makes people think there's a brand new rule. Seriously, Twitch, what the heck? The people going ahead trying to, side with Twitch on this whole argument. Oh, well, it's always been in the rules. You just didn't read it clearly. I think the fact that so many people thought this was a brand new rule, even though it's not, says volumes more about how bad Twitch is at writing their own rules than it is about other streamers' inability to follow them. This is beyond disappointing. It really, really is. And this just makes the entire moderation team of Twitch look like absolute clowns. So yeah, that's the whole story with, in fact, Twitch. Look at that. It took me a half hour to cover that. Am I surprised? Not really. You know what else I'm not surprised about? The fact that an AI artist is now appealing a court decision to not award copyright to his prize-winning AI-generated work. The AI artist's name is Jason Allen. The piece's name is I Don't Really Care. Went ahead and won multiple awards by other brain-addled dinguses that believe that going ahead and having a machine generate art based on other art that it already saw and can't create anything brand new is worthy of art and worthy of copyright, despite the fact that it is not a brand new unique piece. It was hodgepodge together by AI from other existing pieces of work, and the actual alleged artist actually didn't do anything other than tell a machine to do it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to sound non-biased. Oh wait, no, I'm not a journalist. Yeah, I still don't care. I really don't. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Jason Allen. Get dunked on. Courts have ruled multiple times that AI generated work, because the machine goes ahead and has to learn from actual artists on how to draw, and blatantly takes pieces of their art to generate this new piece, which ends up being a hodgepodge and a smear of other pieces of work. It cannot be copyrighted because it is not an original piece of work. You lose. Still, good day, sir. And I'm not sorry. I think we're going to go ahead and, I'll cover this real quick. All right. The most depressing way to learn you have been dumped. Generative AI went ahead and went through a man's text messages, and then the Apple intelligence went ahead and summarized it all into a summary of texts. And well, we now have the first man who learned he was dumped thanks to AI. I actually feel bad for him. This might be the worst way to find out that she's breaking up, or he, I actually don't know, is breaking up with you. A couple lines just saying no longer in relationship, wants belongings from apartment. That hurts. that sucks. There's no other way to say it. And that might be a new level in just how dystopian generative AI is making our world now. Take that. In more interesting news, there is a new method being used using Magnetech electric nanodiscs to potentially be a treatment for Parkinson's disease, to reignite brain stimulation without implants or genetic modification. This is interesting. So this whole thing is the whole process of this is just to be with just one injection of these little things is supposed to help restart the way the brain functions and be able to return motor abilities to where they've been lost. This could be interpreted being one step away from just being nanomachine, son. Except, instead of turning a senator crazy strong, it's curing Parkinson's, which is a lot more noble. Someone in chat said injected inside the skull. Yep. It would be the 250 nanometers across disc, roughly 1/500th the width of the human hair, would be injected directly into the desired location of the brain. From there, they could be activated at any time simply by applying a magnetic field outside of the body. I am going to go ahead and guess someone's going to try and find a way to go ahead and try to make this into some way to make super soldiers. This actually does straight up sound like a plot from a Hollywood movie. It really, really does. However, while this is a good contender for the last burb, no, I can one-up it. Not by much, but I can one-up it. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, fake plants. Fake plants that generate electricity and can generate electricity and also clean the air. These fake plants can go ahead and generate electricity through photosynthesis, which will go ahead and move water and whatnot around, as well as allegedly remove certain toxic elements out of there while giving off oxygen and generate electricity. How much electricity, you might ask? Well, it can create 140 microwatts, which means if you want to power your home and assume your home consumes, we'll say roughly, we'll be generous and say 9 kilowatts. That means you would need, as I go to my calculator to figure this out, 14,285 of these artificial plants. So you're saying there's a chance if I just have an entire forest of these and no birds try to eat it, find out they're fake, and then probably get poisoned and die, because most likely everything they're made of is not edible in any way, shape, or form. You're cooking something very interesting here, researchers at Bingham University. But I feel the idea for mainstream use might need to go back into the oven a little longer. Actually, is that math right? It still seems low, doesn't it? Oh, wait, that's why. I put in 2 kilowatts. I meant 8 kilowatts. That's what I said, 8 kilowatts. So how many of these would I need again? 57,142 of these. You know, I think I might be better off using actual solar panels. Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening. I do encourage you to check out my other works at twitch.tv/EagleFalcon and at YouTube at youtube.com/EagleFalcon. Take care. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. I would actually need like a small greenhouse of these things just to go ahead and just charge my phone. Wait, no, my phone takes more than 5 watts. This is gonna be the new measurement. How much of these synthetic plants would I need to power something? Yeah. I do wonder though, would it trick animals? Or would they just smell something's off and not touch it? The more I think about this, the stranger questions I have. It's crazy.